piece called Swallowing, which is in Guilty Pleasures and was written in 1972. The American people have swallowed a lot in the last 4 years. A lot of swallowing has been done. We have swallowed electric bugs, laundered money, quite a handsome amount of grain moving about in mysterious ways, a war more shameful than can be imagined, much else. There are even people who believe that the President does not invariably tell us the truth about himself or ourselves. He tells us something, we swallow that. In the history of swallowing, the disposition of the enormous cheese, 6 feet thick, 20 feet in diameter, 4,000 pounds, which had been Wisconsin's principal contribution to the New York World's Fair of 1964-65, is perhaps instructive. The problem was that Wisconsin, the fair being over and all that, did not want the cheese back. Jurisdictional haggle between the state of New York, host state as it were to the enormous fromage, and the state of Wisconsin, the gorgeous Gouda's owner of record, was carried on over a period of months. The then governor of the dairy state wrote officially to the governor of the Empire State, suggesting that the cheese be thought of as a gift from the people of the dairy state to the people of the Empire State. The latter could, for example, eat it, he said. The governor of the Empire State replied courteously that although he, the elected Jefe Grande, and representative in all matters of the people of the Empire State, was deeply sensible of the honor being extended to the people of his state by their well-loved fellow citizens in Wisconsin, there just wasn't a whole bunch of interest in this here 6 foot thick, 20 foot in diameter, 4,000 pound cheese among the insensitive civilians who made up the raw material of his, the gov's, suzerainty, and could the state of Wisconsin have it off the premises by Thursday. The governor of the dairy state then wondered, by registered letter, if the governor of the Empire State might not, in some sense, be offering insult and hurt to the people of his own dairy state by rejecting this beautiful gift which was, all authorities agreed, not less than top hole in its line, that is to say, cheeseness. The governor of the Empire State then hinted telegraphically that the motives of the governor of the dairy state might be something less than unimputable, might in fact have something to do with certain expenses incurring by removal of said artifact to turf of origin, and further toyed, telegraphically, with the possibility that cheese-paring in the pejorativist of senses might be a way of life in Madison, Milwaukee, and Eau Claire. The governor of the dairy state countered, in a bull covered with seals and ribbons and delivered by a masked motorcycle messenger once in the employ of the late Jean Cocteau, that since it was well known that his dear friend and fellow practitioner of the governor hustle presided over what the World Health Organization had demonstrated to be the densest rat population per square mile in America, perhaps the cheese might be utilized for the nourishment and basic rat needs of this important part of his esteemed colleague's constituency, and speculated further that the renaming of the Empire State to something on the order of the Rat State might not be such a bad idea either. The governor of the Empire State reposted by fast gunboat, complete with captain's gig, with gold trim, a naval officer with dressed sword, white hat under left arm, curly hair, deep blue, piercing, steady eyes, that the governor of the Kurd State, as he, the governor of the Emp State, liked to think of it. From there the dialogue degenerated. The cheese, meanwhile, was developing a certain fetor. The problem was solved in the following way. The cheese was presented as a gift, free of charge, and for nothing, and with no strings attached, to a young poet. The poet, starving as all poets are ordained to be in their beardless poet puppyhood, had been subsisting on a daily input of one pot of warm water over which one chicken bone had been waved once. He immediately boogied out to the former fairgrounds and took up residence in, around, amid, etc., the 6 foot thick, 20 foot in diameter, 4,000 pound cheese. It sustained him for 2 years and 3 days. He prospered and grew fat, and his art prospered and grew fat also. He wrote verse, melic and gnomic, odes and epodes, diathrims and dirges, hymns, chants, lays, and things to be chiseled on tombstones in fine flowing Caslin letters than which no letters are more comely. He lives among us still, and there is no tree from which a bird cannot be charmed by the sweet soft steel of his verse. His best-known line, one that will undoubtedly sing forever in the hearts of men, and possibly their heads also, refers directly back to his experience of the cheese. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. The American people have swallowed quite a lot in the last 4 years. As the poet cited goes on to say, there are remedies.